Al Michaels with John Madden, Michelle Tafoya. Welcome to Miami, where the Super Bowl champs come to town. And is this team hot? They are 12-1. They have won 6 straight. They were 14-2 last year. They won 24 of their last 25 regular season games, plus, of course, the 3 postseason games last year, their 2nd Super Bowl title in 3 years. And right now they think they're on their way to a 3rd Super Bowl title in the last 4 seasons. They are a purring machine. Miami, on the other hand, with a mark of 2 wins and 11 losses. You all know about Ricky Williams. He stepped away on the eve of training camp. They've never recovered. They were 1-8. Dave Wannstedt resigned. Jim Bates took over as the interim coach, and of course now the speculation is rampant that LSU's Nick Saban will soon become the next coach of the Miami Dolphins. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But John, first, I'd look at New England in this age of parity and free agency and intense competition. Did you think a team could put together this sort of role over this period of time?
No, when the free agency and all that came along, I thought we'd never see a dynasty again. But this is as close to a dynasty as I think you can get. And, you know, it's part organization. They go out and they get the players. It's a big part coaching. I think Bill Belichick could be the best coach in the NFL. But someplace you have to give credit to the players. You know, every time I watch Tom Brady, I think, hey, if I had a team, I'd take this guy. And his offensive line gives him time. He has receivers that get open all the time. And then you know that they're going to be good on defense because Bill Belichick is their head coach.
So they're 12-1. They face the 2-11 Dolphins. You would think this is like shooting fish in a barrel, pardon the expression. But what chance does Miami have to win this game tonight against New England?
Yeah, they probably don't have a whole heck of a lot of chance, but I think they do have a chance to play them tough and play them tight because, as Tom Brady was saying last night, historically, this defense gives me trouble. He said, last time we played, I only completed 7 passes. They press their 2 corners. They keep 2 safeties deep, and they have to be able to run the ball. But I think that they can do that. You know, and if Miami can stop the run and maybe get some turnovers, but someplace A.J. Feely is going to have to make some plays in the passing game.
And the Dolphins made a game of it when they first met earlier this season in Foxborough. So it's Jason Taylor and his Dolphins against the Super.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
One man who will get a lot of primetime exposure tonight is Troy Brown of the New England Patriots. Very much the embodiment of this New England team. More on Troy. Let's go down to the field and Michelle Tafoya. Michelle.
Yeah, Al, the Patriots team philosophy is simple. Each player knows his role and nobody cares who gets the credit. But Troy Brown is getting a little extra credit from his teammates this season for contributing in every phase of the game. He is the team's 3rd all-time leading receiver, and yet he's tied for the team lead in interceptions this season. Not only that, he's a regular on special teams. In fact, Tom Brady told me earlier this season, no one has been better than Brown.
I think it's fun for us to watch him because to think that a Pro Bowl receiver could go over and play defense and play the way he's played, what a lift it's provided. What it shows is that nobody is afraid to do anything. Nobody is afraid to try to help the team. Nobody's afraid to go out there and do anything they can to contribute. I mean, he's been the best player on this team for a long time. It's still the same way it is.
I asked Brown which is the tougher position to play, wide receiver or cornerback. He said cornerback by far. And he said he thought, Al, that it would get easier over the course of the season, but it's only getting tougher as teams continue to collect tape and figure out how he's playing.
Troy Brown, he has been, as I say, the embodiment very much so of this New England Patriot team. Whatever you need, somebody seems to step up, and New England will get the ball first. Olindo Mare will kick off for Miami. Kevin Falk, who has not returned a kickoff this season, though he has a lot of experience, as you can see, in his career, and Patrick Pass are both back. Bethel Johnson is their normal kickoff returner, but he is inactive tonight. Leg injury. So here we go on a chilly night. But if you're in the north, you know what chilly is, and this is 52 degrees, so it's not that bad as we get underway from Miami. 8-yard line. Kevin Falk, who's the backup running back to Corey Dillon, brings it back to the 23-yard line. And let's take a look at the New England offense.
Tom Brady, Michigan.
Corey Dillon, University of Washington.
Patrick Pass, Georgia.
David Patton, Western Carolina University.
Deion Branch, the University of Louisville.
Daniel Graham, Colorado.
Matt Light, Purdue.
Joanne Druzing, Southern Connecticut State.
Dan Copen, Boston College.
Stephen Neal, Cal State Bakersfield.
Brandon Bourne, Purdue University.
Corey Dillon coming over after 7 years with Cincinnati and has done a great job. He's rushed for 1,309 yards, and they start with him as he cuts back, and Dillon picks up a first down and several more yards as he's finally forced out of bounds up at the 41-yard line. And so New England begins with a 21-yard run.
And the Miami defense just over pursues on this thing. You're going to see two tight ends over on this side. This is a power side, so they start the pitch here. Watch the pursuit of the Dolphins. They get them all going that way, and Corey Dillon just runs right back against the grain. It's supposed to be a sweep to the right. He ends up all the way on the other side of the field.
And Druzing threw a nice block after they responded. Officially a gain of 19 on the opening carry for Corey Dillon, who's the tailback in this set. Gets it on the draw, and this time gets up to about the 44, gain of a couple. Here is the Miami defense.
David Bowens, Western Illinois.
Brian Robinson, Fresno State.
Jeff Scanina, Purdue.
Jason Taylor, Akron.
Brendan Badejo, University of California, Los Angeles.
Derek Pope, Alabama.
Marlon Greenwood, Syracuse.
Pat Surtain, Southern Miss.
Sammy Knight, USC.
Arturo Freeman, South Carolina.
Sam Madison, Louisville Cardinals.
One guy you might note missing is Zach Thomas, inactive for a couple of games now with a hamstring. They lost Junior Seau, their other linebacker, earlier this year. And Brady's first pass was caught by David Patton, who gets up and crosses the 50-yard line, but is about a yard shy of the first down. Jason Taylor makes the stop.
And Jason Taylor, you know, we always talk about these guys that have motors that go 110 miles an hour, and I don't know if there's a whole heck of a lot of them, but this guy is one. He starts on a pass rush, then the pass is completed, and he goes downfield and makes the tackle on the completed pass. That's hustle.
Taylor, despite all that's gone on with Miami this year, singled out by Jim Bates the other day as a guy having a typical year. So as rough as it's been collectively, Jason has stepped up individually, and on 3rd and short, they give it to Dillon, and he angles his way as he turns his shoulders in behind Richard Seymour. Now, Seymour is the defensive lineman, 93. They line him up in short yardage and goal line situations, and he's blocking on that play for a first down.
Yeah, and he's the lead blocker, and Corey Dillon knows that when you need a first down in short yardage or goal line, you just get right in behind Richard Seymour. Here's Seymour here. He's going to lead to this side, and he's going to get a push. Watch. He makes contact here. Then he starts pushing the pile, and then Corey Dillon comes right in behind him.
At the 47-yard line. Patriots, who picked up 2 early first downs. Play fake, swing it out to the outside. It's caught there by Patrick Pass, who's become a little bit more a part of the offense over the past few weeks. Gain of about 5. We talked about Dave Wanstead stepping down after 9 games this season. Jim Bates, who'd been the defensive coordinator, longtime assistant coach. He's been around at one point 2 decades ago. He was the head coach of the San Antonio Gunslingers of the United States Football League. He's in as the interim coach. He will get an official interview for the head coaching job tomorrow. But as we say, Nick Saban is the dominant figure there, and we'll discuss that as we go along. 2nd down and 6. Kevin Falk, the backup to Dillon, turns the corner, gets tripped up, and comes up a little bit short of the first down. So again, they'll have a 3rd and 1 coming up. Derek Pope made the tackle.
As you say, Kevin Falk is a backup, and he kind of comes in and out for Corey Dillon. He's usually in on passing downs. If it's going to be a run, they want Corey Dillon in there. If it's going to be a pass play for a pass receiver or pass protection, they like Kevin Falk in there.
So they bring Seymour in. Another guy they love to bring in too is Mike Vrabel, the linebacker, number 50. Corey Dillon is the running back. He gets it. And behind all that bulk, first down New England.
Look at the push that Seymour gets, though. I mean, you know, you got a pile there. I mean, you have Neal and Gorin blocking on that side, and then Seymour just comes in there, and he just pushes the pile right back. Watch him again. He's going to lead there, so you know whichever way he goes, Corey Dillon is probably going to be right behind him. And watch, he just gets the pile moving, and then Dillon just rides him.
310 pounds. They had Rabel lined up at tight end that side. First down at the 35-yard line. Heavy dose of the former Bengal as Dillon picks up 4. He takes it to the 31. Sammy Knight makes the tackle. John, the only question about Corey Dillon was, how he would fit in. He had his problems in Cincinnati. That was a marriage gone sour. He couldn't wait to leave. They couldn't wait to get rid of him, but he's worked out pretty perfectly for Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Bill Belichick talked to him before he signed him and told him what he wanted from him, and Dillon said what he wanted, and as you said, it was a marriage, and they've had no problems whatsoever. Everyone is very, very happy with that deal.
Second down and 6, and Brady floats one over the middle with fabulous touch to Falk for the touchdown. 31 yards, and the New England Patriots have now scored first in their last 19 consecutive regular season games.
They were just saying how they like Kevin Falk as a receiver. The Patriots had 4 wide receivers, and you're going to see the Dolphin defense is spread out. The only guy for Falk is the middle linebacker. Once he gets by the linebacker, Tom Brady knows he has a touchdown.
Threw it over Derek Pope. Anything but a perfect spiral, but what beautiful touch to just lay it out there and let it float into the arms of Falk, and Vinatieri for the point after. So a pretty perfect start for the New England Patriots. Down the field they go. Takes them 5 minutes and 1 second, and they lead 7-0. In 78, scored first in 15 straight games. It's an amazing record when you think about it, because about half the time you're going to lose the coin toss. You're going to give up that first possession. Last week Cincinnati drove deep into New England territory, but a fumble gave New England the ball, and they were able to keep that streak alive, and they extend it tonight as Wes Welker is going to run back the kickoff, and he brings it back up to the 33-yard line. So A.J. Feely and the Miami Dolphins. And back we come to Pro Player Stadium in Miami during this holiday season. 7-0. New England on top, and the Miami Dolphins ready to take over here after Kevin Falk's touchdown. That was his first touchdown reception of the season. And A.J. Feely goes to work from the 33-yard line to begin on the ground. Sammy Morris. And he gets stood up at the 35 by Rodney Harrison. Let's take a look at the Miami starters.
A.J. Feely, University of Oregon.
Sammy Morris, Texas Tech.
Jamar Martin, The Ohio State University.
Marty Booker, Louisiana Monroe.
Chris Chambers, Wisconsin Badgers.
Randy McMichael, Georgia.
Damian McIntosh, Kansas State.
Geno James, Auburn.
Seth McKinney, Texas A&M.
Rex Hadnot, University of Houston.
John St. Clair, Virginia.
And a Feely to throw on second down, and that's caught by Randy McMichael up at the 38-yard line. Feely came over in a trade with Philadelphia. He was going to battle with Jay Fiedler for the starting job, and Fiedler won it, and then Feely got a couple of starts, and then Fiedler came back, but Jay is now gone for the season on injured reserve. And so, John, and there is Jay Fiedler. The Dolphins are going to find out whether this guy might be their quarterback of the future over these next 3 games. It's still up in the air.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to find out a lot in the next few weeks. You know, who they're going to keep, who their coach is going to be. Are they going to have a new general manager? And of course, they still need another quarterback, even if they keep Feely.
Well, Feely gets sacked and he fumbles, and it's recovered there by number 78 of the Dolphins, Geno James, after it was knocked away by Jarvis Green. So Green creates the fumble. The Dolphins are 3 and out on their opening drive, and in comes the punting group.
Yeah, we talk about this Patriot defense and how they move guys all over the place. Here's Jarvis Green. He's a defensive end, and they just have him playing over the center. So he gets a pass rush, gets the outside shoulder of the guard, and comes right up into A.J. Feely. That's Feely's problem. I mean, he has a tough time with a pass rush. He has a tough time with a blitz. He has a tough time getting the ball out of there quickly.
Matt Turk. High kick. Falk takes it at the 21. And Kevin, who scored the game's first touchdown, brings it back to the 28-yard line. So Brady and the gang go to work again about halfway through the first period with New England leading Miami. Terrell Owens will take on the Rams, still alive in the NFC West. Owens is gone for the regular season and through the NFC playoffs. John talked to him earlier. We'll detail that at halftime tonight. Now New England with Brady, who threw a touchdown pass to Falk on the first series from the 27-yard line. Fake to Dillon, fires up to the 42-yard line, but incomplete. Intended for David Patton. Sammy Knight with the coverage on the play.
You know, looking at that touchdown pass again, you see how they spread the defense out, and then they take the two inside guys and bring them out and take them out. Then that takes all the coverage on this side here, all the coverage on this side here, and Kevin Falk has a wide open middle against the rookie middle linebacker, Derek Pope. You see how the whole coverage comes to this side, all the other coverage goes to that side, and Derek Pope, the rookie middle linebacker, had the whole middle of the field.
Here's Corey Dillon. You know, John, we look at a pass like that. One thing Brady has done this year, he's throwing deeper. Now, that was a floater, but it went 19 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and then Falk was able to take it in. But Brady's been very proficient throwing longer balls this year.
Well, you know, before they had Corey Dillon, they used to use a lot of those short passes in lieu of runs. So, you know, he had all those things, and he says now with Corey Dillon, he said, I'm not throwing as many short passes, and I'm throwing a lot fewer screen passes.
Leading the league in percentage of passes thrown 10 or more yards beyond the line of scrimmage. And that is incomplete, intended for Falk, and he takes a shot as the ball gets there from Sammy Knight. So 3 and out for New England.
That's one thing about Sammy Knight. He's one of those safeties, you know, out of USC, the Ronnie Lott mold. If you catch it, he will give you a shot. If you don't catch it, he'll give you a shot.
Josh Miller having a good year. Every Patriot's having a good year. Wes Welker to run it back. And the left-footed former Steeler angles one toward the sideline. A well-placed kick, 27-yard line. And getting free is Welker, and there are no flags, and Welker is still alive, and Welker is inside the 10, cuts back and gets tripped up at the 2-yard line. And there are no flags on a play on which you almost always see a flag. When a guy goes from one sideline to the other, it's almost unavoidable not to throw an illegal block, but there's no flag on a 72-yard punt return.
But you could see that one all the way. They pinned him over on the right side. Then when he started coming back left, watch that wall form. Right there's a wall, and then he'll go boom, 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 and he gets outside it. Then there's just one guy, and that's the punter, and he's by him.
And then it's Cherry making a great play. Jerron Cherry just reaches back to save a touchdown. Officially now it's a 71-yard run back. 2 yards shy of the end zone. So Cherry, for the moment, saving the touchdown with 6:34 remaining in the opening period. And New England.
It's a tackle with his left arm, and his right arm braces him, and then it just gives out from under him.
So now Sammy Morris is the back here. A.J. Feely will give it to him, and he dives into the end zone for a touchdown. So the big punt return by Welker, and then Morris pays it off, and they're an extra point away from tying the game.
Yeah, we talked about Seymour on the other side. Watch the fullback and the block that he gets here. Number 32, Jamar Martin. Watch the lead that he's going to get coming right in there. And he gets Pfeiffer, and then Morris is right in behind him.
Olindo Mate for the point after is good, and with 6.5 to play in the opening period, we're knotted at 7. Pats Dolphins on Monday Night Football. ESPN.
You know, when you only have 2 wins and you have an interim head coach, I think you expect a lot of tricks in the kicking game, even an onside kick.
Maybe a little bit later as Murray sends this one conventionally to the 3-yard line. Kevin Falk, and that's a good tackle at the 15-yard line by Brendan Ayanbadejo, who is also starting at linebacker tonight because that linebacking core is so depleted. Nice open field tackle by number 50.
And we're going to see Ayanbadejo come down here, and this is what he's a starting linebacker, but he has to run down on kicks too because that's what he does. And see, to get there, you have to make some moves. You have to make some moves on blockers, not take them on, just get around a blocker, and then when you get there, make that tackle. Ayanbadejo is pretty good at that. That's how he made the team. And then, of course, with injuries, he's also starting at weak side linebacker tonight.
Of course, as we said before, they're missing Junior Seau. He's been gone for a few weeks. Zach Thomas inactive. Eddie Moore would also start, but he's hurt. New England starts from the 16, and Corey Dillon has no place to run. David Bowens is there with some help to stop him after a very short game. Tom Brady, and what a story. I mean, already 2 Super Bowl MVP awards, picked in the 6th round out of Michigan. He was their 4th quarterback in 2000. Normally the 4th quarterback gets waived, so it was amazing he even stayed with the team. 60 to start tonight with 46 wins, and of course the MVP of both of New England's Super Bowl victories on 2nd down and 10. And that is caught. And fighting for the first down is the tight end Daniel Graham. They had him wrapped up short of the first down marker, and then he's able to move past it. And John, I said it's amazing that you stick around as a 4th quarterback. The reason is, if you're going to keep a guy as a 4th quarterback, you're taking a roster spot away from somebody else.
Right, and he's a guy that, you know, for over half the games, he didn't even dress. He was up in the stands because you have your first 2 quarterbacks, and then you have your 3rd or emergency quarterback, and then the 4th quarterback, he's like a nothing.
From the 27, a little toss back to Dillon, who escapes for the moment. Bowens couldn't make the tackle, but then the rest of the Dolphins are there to stop him at about the line of scrimmage.
Bill Belichick was saying last night that he had a team like he has now. He said you couldn't afford to keep a 4th quarterback. He said, but we were so bad then. He said we could have cut the team to 48. He said we could have cut it to 45. We could have cut the team to 35 at that time. So if you don't have a good team, it's easier to keep a guy like Tom Brady as a 4th quarterback.
And he was the beneficiary in 2001 when Drew Bledsoe was injured. That's how he got his chance, as Patrick Pass catches the pass. You know, when you look at it, Belichick comes in the 2000 season. Bledsoe makes 18 starts for him and goes 5-13. Brady is now 46-13.
You know, being that 4th quarterback, he had a chance to develop. And when he came in, you know, how could he be a 7th-round draft choice? How can everyone miss on him? Well, they didn't. I mean, he developed into what he is now. And as Bill Belichick was saying, he didn't have the entire body strength. I mean, he's a lot bigger and a lot stronger and obviously a heck of a lot better now.
3rd down and 5 from the 33-yard line. Deep drop, great protection, and then that's the first pass all season that has been deflected or blocked at the line of scrimmage. David Bowens does it. First time Brady's had one block. Here's Michelle.
Well, guys, punter Josh Miller looks like he's coming out there. They said that he had an arm injury, and Adam Vinatieri was warming up on the sideline with long snapper Lonnie Paxton. Vinatieri's only punted once in his NFL career, but as you see, Miller questionable, but now back on the field.
So Josh Miller shaken up, the left-footed kicker on 4th down. And it's a line drive kick, but it gets great distance. Fielded 16-yard line by Welker, who had that 71-yard return. And the former Texas Tech Red Raider takes it out to the 31, 16-yard return with 3:33 remaining in the opening period in Miami. Now, A.J. Feely played at Oregon and didn't play that much, only 8 starts in those 4 years in Eugene. 5 starts with the Eagles when Donovan McNabb and then Coy Detmer got hurt a couple of years back, and now 7 starts as a Miami Dolphin. So for a guy who's been a quarterback for a number of years, going back to the mid-90s, very little experience overall.
Right. If you look at that, he's only played in 20 games since he got out of high school.
From the 31-yard line, Feely throws over the middle, and that's incomplete and through the hands of the normally pretty sure-handed Chris Chambers. Teddy Bruschi popped him as the ball got there. And let's take a look at the New England defense. But first, we have a flag. Walt Anderson will make the call.
Personal foul. Chop block. Number 68. Offense. 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
Seth McKinney.
Seth McKinney is the center, and usually when that happens is you come back and you pass off. Again, now watch him. See, he'll be right here. And now if you're the only guy and you're engaged with him, it's okay. But when the left guard steps down and he engages, what your left guard see, when he steps down and he engages, now you have an illegal chop block.
And a 15-yard call, so it is 1st and 25, and Troy Brown comes in defensively for New England. On the ground, Sammy Morris going nowhere, and now we'll check the defense.
Scott Warren, Texas A&M.
Keith Trevor, Central Oklahoma.
Richard Seymour, University of Georgia.
Mike Vrabel, Ohio State University.
Teddy Bruschi, Arizona.
Ted Johnson, Colorado.
Willie McGinnis, USC.
Asante Samuel, UCF. Rodney Harrison, Markham, Illinois.
Eugene Wilson, Illinois.
Randall Blugay, LSU.
Randall Blugay, what a story. He is undrafted rookie out of LSU, but seeing a lot of playing time because of all of the injuries. And here comes the blitz, and down goes Feely. So New England with one of those jailbreak blitzes, and Roman Pfeiffer, the oldest linebacker in the league, comes in to get the sack.
You see they were in a 2-4-5. They only had 2 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. Here's Mike Vrabel, the outside guy. He's going to stunt to the inside to start the pressure. See the 2 inside guys? Here comes Vrabel to the inside, and he's the first guy on the jailbreak. Pfeiffer right in behind him.
The 36-year-old Pfeiffer. And 3rd down and 30, it's Sammy Morris, to the displeasure of the crowd. Jim Bates figuring he doesn't have a 30-yard pass play in the books against this New England defense, so they opt to just run it through the middle and send in the punting unit.
Or he doesn't have a quarterback who can handle a heavy blitz, or he doesn't have an offensive line who can block for the quarterback to give him the time to do anything.
Not a good combination.
Well, I think that's what they'd like to do, is throw more on 1st and 2nd down, because once it gets to 3rd, they're going to get a heavy dose of blitz, and they just can't handle it.
They gave Mike Vrabel a half a sack to go with a half with Pfeiffer. And Turk almost has that one blocked, but gets away a beauty that is fair caught by Kevin Falk at the 41-yard line. Tully Bantakane came roaring through and almost got a hand on it, but Turk is able to get the kick away. And New England will take over at the 41-yard line. In the history of the National Football League, you put together a head coach and a starting quarterback. There's John and Ken Stabler. That's not bad. 49 wins and a tie in 60 games. Paul Brown and Otto Graham, 48 wins. Don Shula and Bob Greasy with 47 wins and a tie. And now you've got Belichick and Brady seeking their 47th win in their first 60 games together. 1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. Brady under pressure, and he gets sacked. It's Jason Taylor coming around the corner, grabbing him and planting him.
Yeah, you always wonder when Jason Taylor is out there why you wouldn't block him with a tackle. Well, you have Daniel Graham, the tight end, block him. I think that's okay, but you better have the tackle block him too, because there's no way. I don't care any tight end. I mean, the tight ends are nice, and this guy's a good blocker, and he's all those things. But you're not going to block this guy with a tight end, believe me.
8.5 sacks for Taylor. That leads the team. So after the 49-yard punt, now it's 2nd down and 16 from the 35-yard line. And here goes Dillon. Corey up to the 39-yard line. Taylor makes the tackle.
He's a heck of a player, Jason Taylor. I mean, he's something. You know, they play him at right defensive end most of the time, and they'll move him over on the left side. They put him in the middle. He's the one very good football player that this Dolphin team still has.
Well, if the Dolphins, if there's a bright spot, obviously it's defense this year. I mean, their corners are good. You know you can count on Taylor. They're missing Zach Thomas. Question I begin to think about, though, John, is the age of this defense. They're creeping up.
Well, and that's what Jason Taylor says. He said, we had a window of opportunity, and the window's closed now.
3rd and 12, and over the middle, it's Troy Brown making the catch, but he cannot pick up the first down. Patrick Surtain is there to stop him at the 45-yard line, and we'll have another punt as the period winds down.
Isn't it something how a play like a Jason Taylor makes a play, he gets a sack, and how that can change the momentum a little?
Let's see if they can build on it now in the second quarter. End of 1. New England 7, Miami 7. And Monday Night Football resumes after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya. On the left there is Wayne Heisinger, the owner of the Miami Dolphins. On the right, of course, is the interim head coach Jim Bates, and all of the speculation is about Nick Saban coming from LSU. Saban has met. Apparently no offer, they're telling us, from the Dolphins anyway, has been made. Though most people do expect Saban to wind up as the next coach of the Miami Dolphins. Is on 4th down. Josh Miller's kick is fair caught at the 15-yard line by Wes Welker. Art Shell also was in town, the former Raider head coach and your good friend, of course, a longtime great Hall of Famer. You have to interview, as you know, a minority candidate for a head coaching position in the NFL. It's an edict that's been in effect now for a number of years. Art came here and met for 3.5 hours today. We don't know how that went. But Heisinger was there. Eddie Jones, the team president, was there. Rick Spielman was there. But right now, it's Saban who's clearly the front runner.
Right, and I would like to see him obviously hire Art Shell. I mean, you know, interviewing him is one thing, and that's nice, but Art Shell is a good man. He's a bright guy, and he's a good coach.
Travis Minor grabbed that. It was behind the line of scrimmage. Bill Belichick was the head coach, of course, of the Cleveland Browns in the early 90s, and Nick Saban was his defensive coordinator. Then he left to go to Michigan State. He's had a number of feelers from the NFL in the past. Chicago looked at him. Tampa looked at him in between when they thought they had Parcells, and Gruden got the job. And now, of course, last year, winning part of a national championship at LSU, has his team going to another bowl. 2nd down and 10 here as Feely throws over the middle, and sandwich was Randy McMichael, and it's incomplete. So it appears to be right now in Saban's court. Does he want to come to the NFL? Does he want to coach Miami, or does he want to stay at LSU?
And I would say that he wants to come to the NFL, because if not, he would deny it. I mean, you know, a coach can't leave his name out there for a long time, a college head coach, because it kills his recruiting. And everyone will use that against him. You don't want to go there, the coach is leaving and all those things. So usually when a rumor starts, it's squelched right away. And his leaving that out there would make me believe that in his mind he thinks he's coming here.
And he's not leveraging anything with LSU as the pass is caught by Marty Booker, who breaks a tackle and then gets taken down at the 18-yard line. Let's shed more light on this with Michelle.
Well, Al, I spoke with Don Shula, of course, the Hall of Fame former coach of the Miami Dolphins, about the future of this franchise, and he told me that the franchise has been in, quote, constant decline over the last 9 or 10 years and hit rock bottom with the Ricky Williams fiasco this year. As far as a new head coach, he thinks Nick Saban would be an excellent choice because of the pro experience, the head coaching experience. He said he thinks he'd bring excitement to this franchise that it really needs. He also said of Nick Saban, he is a guy with the right kind of mind, and that's what they need, the right guy with the right mind, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle, as Matt Turk sends one skyward again. A lot of punch in this game. That's 13:49 remaining in the opening half. New England takes over at midfield. The game tied 7-7. And Tom Brady hands the ball off to Dillon on the stretch play for a gain of 7 to the 43-yard line. Tackled by Ian Badejo. These two teams met in New England. They were in Foxborough on the 10th of October. You can see New England with only 204 yards and just 7 completions for Tom Brady, but 2 of those for touchdowns, John.
Right, and Tom Brady was complaining about that last night. That he said these guys are tough. And he said I only completed 7 passes. He didn't mention that, as you say, 2 of them were for touchdowns.
And his lowest completion percentage in all of his starts, 2nd and 3. So the Miami defense, and they've done it for years, plays New England very tough. Falk close to a first.
One of the interesting guys, on this New England team is Stephen Neal, the right guard. right here. He was a wrestler in college, went to Bakersfield, and you see here he just has great balance and strength. Although there's nothing special about that block there till the end. But I just think it's amazing. A guy plays in high school, goes to a college, and he's just a wrestler, doesn't play football. Bakersfield doesn't have football, comes into the NFL and becomes a starting guard.
On a world championship team, as Patrick Pass carries the ball, you had Seymour in the game, you had Vrabel in the game, so the two defensive guys are in the game helping to pave the way, and it's a first down, and we go to Michelle.
Well, from the time Stephen Neal was a kid, he was bound and determined, you guys, to play in the National Football League. And as you mentioned, goes to Cal State Bakersfield, wins 2 NCAA championships. 3 years after college, he comes out, finds an agent. That agent puts him through a workout. The agent thinks, hey, we've got something there. And Neal told me that through it all, he never doubted for a minute he was going to get here, Al.
And there you saw him in action in his wrestling days, and Brady has to keep it, and Moreland Greenwood pounces on him.
You know, he's from San Diego, went to high school in San Diego, and as we said, was a wrestler there. And you know who he wrestled there and who he beat there? Ricky Williams.
Really?
Ricky Williams was from San Diego. They wrestled against each other, and Stephen Neal beat Ricky Williams. That'll show him, huh?
Oh, Ricky.
Can't win for losing.
Learning to be a masseur. You know, don't you want to get a massage, not give one? Here's Brady throwing over the middle, and that pass is incomplete. And you've got a flag coming in. Deion Branch, the intended receiver.
No, I was just saying, I always liked wrestlers as offensive linemen because they have great balance.
While the quarterback was in the pocket. Holding, number 56, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
It's the rookie middle linebacker, Derek Pope.
Here's Stephen Neal again, and just watch the balance that he has. You see, you want to get square, you want to be underneath shoulder pads, you want to be able, if they come on a stunt, to be able to come off. Always have your feet underneath you square and knees bent and be able to move right and left. I think things that you learn in wrestling are really very, very important in guard and center play in the NFL.
There's the offensive breakdown. The key play, of course, for the Dolphins was the 71-yard punt return by Wes Welker as David Patton makes his catch, and he's out of bounds at the 28.
Isn't that one thing about these Patriot receivers? You're not sure, you know, who you have to stop. Is it Deion Branch? Is it Patton? Is it Givens? Is it Troy Brown? You know, and that's the thing that, you know, I think that Tom Brady does so well is he uses all those guys so you can't zero in on any one of them.
Givens would be their leading receiver with 52, and this will be a first down as Patrick Pass takes it through the middle, but he just distributes the ball. Givens with 52, then you have Patton with 39, Graham the tight end with 25, Falk is the back. He loves Deion Branch. Branch missed a lot of games this season. He got injured. And now you've got, well, Corey Dillon is one guy he doesn't go to very much, interestingly. Dillon's only caught 10 balls this year.
No, again, because Corey Dillon is a runner, and if they need a pass receiver in there, that's when they put Kevin Falk in.
First and 10 from the 25-yard line. Dillon. You know, I'm looking at Bill Belichick, and we talked about Bill wearing a sweatshirt. Now, I mean, Tom Landry belonged in a coat and a hat and a tie, of course. And then there's Bill who belongs in a sweatshirt. You know what I think of you, John? You know what I think of when I in my mind's eye when you were a coach?
Yeah, they didn't give us clothes in those days, so it couldn't be a sweatshirt.
I thought of a credential. You'd always wear that, like nobody knew who you were. You were wearing the credential on the sideline.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they just gave you a credential and they told everyone to wear it. So I just put it on every just like they told me.
I want to see the guy who's going to throw you out. Second down and 7. And this is Dillon with a pretty good sized hole. Stephen Neal throwing a nice block to spring him, and it'll be 3rd down and 1.
Yeah, I think all coaches had that, but they all wore coats, and I never wore a coat, so I didn't have one. Let's watch Stephen Neal here. Al, you just mentioned it. He makes a good block here. We're talking about the movement and just the balance, you know, being able to get some guy, keep your feet square, keep him moving, take him where he wants to go. 7 runs on this drive. They only threw the ball once. 8 plays, only 1 pass.
And Dillon, very tough to stop. In these situations, you've got those 2 defenders in, Seymour and Vrabel, and you've got Dillon, and just the way he angles himself and turns those shoulders and goes in like a knife in a first down.
And that was one time that he didn't follow Seymour. Seymour kind of went in the 5-hole, and Dillon just took it out to the 7-hole. You know, he'd been following Seymour, just going in here. This time, you're going to see Seymour kind of comes in here, and Dillon brings it in and then takes it to the outside. Because everyone said, okay, he's going where Seymour goes, so they all go into that area, and Corey Dillon just bounces it outside of Seymour.
1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Dillon to the right side this time. Can't get around the corner. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by Ian Badejo.
You know, Charlie Wise calling the plays here for the Patriots for, you know, this will be his last season doing that because he's going to be the head coach at Notre Dame. But, you know, Charlie Wise, you always think of calling pass plays all the time. Remember, everything was a pass. And now he gets Corey Dillon, and he kind of likes the running game a lot more, doesn't he?
Well, on this drive, I mean, look at this drive. 10 plays, 9 runs, only 1 pass.
That's what I'm saying. That's not a Charlie Wise drive.
2nd down and 10, but it's been a very effective one to this point, consuming almost 6 minutes. And Brady with time, and he sends one to the corner where Christian Fourier, the tight end, has to stop and make the catch, and then he's down at about the 2.5.
I'll tell you, and that's what the running game does give you is time like that. Now this Miami defense won, and they're a little tired, but they're playing the run. Then you go play action pass. And watch the time Tom Brady has to find Fourier or any other receiver. Well, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And it's 3rd down and 2 now. They can get a first down without a touchdown, as you can see the yellow line. Second down is 7 minutes left in the half. Brady, draw, Dillon almost untouched. Touchdown New England. So 12 plays, and Weiss called 10 runs and only 2 passes.
And what they did is they lined up in a passing formation. Usually the tailback is behind the quarterback. Here you see him here. You're going to see Neal pull to this side, and they're going to run the draw. So they line up here and run it back to this side where there's really no defenders back there. You see a good trap block, but they're by Stephen Neal, and there was no one in behind the trap blocker.
Vinatieri, who's missed only 1 kick all season. That was a field goal earlier in the year. 7:01 left, first half. New England back up on top, 14-7. Phil.
Al, I spoke with Brad Childress, the offensive coordinator in Philly, who coached A.J. Feely from the time he was a rookie. He described Feely as a smart, composed, quote-unquote, flatline guy. Doesn't get too high or too low. But I asked Childress, what is the one thing that could make or break Feely's NFL career? And he said that's easy. Throwing the ball to the defense. He said he has to take care of the football. That's the last thing I told him before he left. He hasn't done too well at it. It's a tough lesson he's learning, Al.
And tonight, learning a very tough lesson. They're -9 in the passing game. And now they're trying to get back into positive numbers as Randy McMichael, the tight end, makes the catch up to the 36-yard line, about 3 yards shy of the first.
You know, the thing they're trying to do is get positive yards on first down and second down and stay out of 3rd and long. Because the 3rd and long is where the Patriots bring all those exotic blitzes, you know, with the, you know 6, 7 defensive back, I mean, all those kinds of things. There's a guy that didn't have to worry about 3rd down.
Dan Marino in the shadows, looking on. Feely rolling and stopping and then firing underneath, and he gets the first down here as Brian Gilmore makes the catch. Former Arizona Cardinal picks up the first down.
See, and I think this is a better situation for him when you can get in a 3rd and 4. Now you can run play action pass. Now you can bootleg. Now you can get out on the edges and do these kinds of things. But when you get 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, and you have to stand in the pocket and the blitzers are coming, there's no way that Feely or this offensive line can handle it.
So now they're +13 passing. They have 19 total yards. Good play fake. That buys a lot of time. Fires it over the middle. And going down to make the catch at the 32 is Marty Booker, the ex-Chicago Bear. Came over at the beginning of the year in a trade for Wally Agunlaye, 17 yards.
And this is one of the things that A.J. Feely was talking about the other day, that we have to pass some on first down. You know, make them play, run, and then pass it here, where we don't get those defenses, those extra defensive backs, all that nickel and dime and blitzing and those types of things, because the Patriots don't blitz a lot on first and second down.
Travis Minor to the 26-yard line, where Ted Johnson makes the tackle.
I'll tell you, they're having a tough time running on first down because Keith Traylor and Vince Wilfork, the two nose tackles of the Patriots, are playing very well. I mean, they're not getting much movement in the middle. And then on first down, when you don't get much movement in the middle, when you don't get much movement on this guy right here, you're not going to make many yards in the running game.
Tough for Miami to run, period. This year, 3.4 yards per carry. And Minor is stopped. And tonight, they're averaging 1.8 yards per carry as Jarvis Green makes the tackle.
And the thing that they've been doing all the time in the running game is getting penetration. You're going to see Richard Seymour get it right here. They get the penetration on this side. And anytime that you can control that line and get in their side of the backfield, then you make guys make cuts when they're not ready to and when they don't want to.
3rd and 4, Dolphins at the 25, wearing orange uniforms. Only the second time ever they wore them on a Sunday night last year against the Washington Redskins. Pass is swung to the outside, and that'll be a first down as Gilmore makes the catch. And Troy Brown, who was in the secondary that time, forces him out of bounds. First down for the Dolphins after a 9-yard gain.
Yeah, they worked on Troy Brown that time. They bring Gilmore in motion, and then they bring him back. You see him, he'll start in motion, then he starts back. Troy Brown has a man-to-man. He comes up, just gives him that little quick out move, and Troy Brown's about a step or two too slow. But they knew what they were doing. They got Troy Brown moving with the motion, then they came back to where they started from.
They moved the ball 53 yards on this drive, and now you have a whistle before the snap. And the false start coming up against Miami.
Snap. False start, number 84. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Chris Chambers.
Jamar Martin, the fullback, and it went on motion, and he lined up, and he ended up way outside on the left side. And I think sometimes when you start motion or you feel movement on your offense, it gets an outside receiver to jump. It's the only thing. They don't have to do it, but it does happen.
At the 22, 2.5 to go in the half. New England up by 7. And that was almost picked off as Asante Samuel, who picked one off last week against Cincinnati and ran it back for a score. Pretty good timing that time. The pass a little low, intended for Marty Booker.
Yeah, I think E.J. Feely looked out there the whole time. I mean, first of all, he motioned out to that side. They have a bunch over in the left side, so they have a single out here, but they don't have a single coverage out there. I mean, all the coverage didn't go over on the other side, so they tried to get single out there and just throw the ball out. But A.J. Feely looked the whole way, and Asante Samuel got a pretty good jump on it.
15 picks this year against Feely, highest interception rate in the NFL. Fires this one to the 11-yard line, and it's taken in there, 4 yards shy of the first by Marty Booker. So a nice looking drive that's consumed almost 5 minutes. They started back at their own 12-yard line.
You know, one of the things that Jim Bates did when he took over the team is kind of open it up and throw more, because his playmakers are really his receivers. Marty Booker's a playmaker. Chris Chambers is. Randy McMichael, and you have to throw him the ball to get him involved.
Game coming up, the most anticipated regular season game in memory. Miami and the Lakers. We have Shaq, and then John talked to Terrell Owens, and we'll have that report coming up on the Toyota halftime show. 3rd down and 5, and the pass is incomplete. May have been tipped, intended for Randy McMichael, and so the which started at the 30-yard line, bogs down, and Miami will have to settle for a 3-point attempt.
I just saw the Patriots in a defense I'd never seen in my life. They had no defensive linemen. They just had linebackers and defensive backs in there on that down. I have seen them use one defensive lineman, I think. I know I've seen a lot of two defensive linemen. That last third down, they had 0 defensive linemen. The first time in the history of the National Football League.
Leave it to Belichick. Maury with a 30-yard field goal that is good. With 1:52 remaining, now has passed Garo Yepremian for the most points in the history of the Miami Dolphin franchise. Came into the AFL as an expansion team in '66. Kevin Falk up to the 27-yard line. And so New England with 1:45 to the half. All 3 of their timeouts available. New England trying to win its 7th straight game and go to 13-1 to keep pace with Pittsburgh in the battle for home field advantage in the playoffs. 14-10 New England. Half, the New England Patriots at the 27-yard line. Only lost this season for the Patriots at Pittsburgh on a day when Corey Dillon didn't play. John, of course, was talking before about maybe a first in the history of the National Football League. No defensive lineman.
You look at him. Here's 1 linebacker, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 linebackers. 2 down, 4 up. And then the ball snapped and they just all come.
And they stopped him.
Yeah.
Brady now out of the gun for the first time. And the pass is incomplete, intended for the tight end, Daniel Graham. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
It was funny after that 3rd down play. We watched A.J. Feely walking off the field talking to the coaches on the sideline, and he had kind of a perplexed look. I mean, that was one thing that you know, I've never seen this before, and he couldn't have. I mean, that's something you don't see on film. You don't see any place, and they're still trying to figure. I don't think they had a defensive lineman in there.
Only time you'd ever see that is if you had a concussion. Man, what? What was that?
This guy's coming.
2nd and 10. Here come the Dolphins, and Brady gets the ball away, and the pass is incomplete. Jay Williams came in. He might have gotten a finger on it. We mentioned before, it's amazing that here we are toward the end of December. Brady had not had a single pass this season blocked or deflected at the line of scrimmage until tonight. The only regular quarterback in the league who could say that.
He's back here in his shotgun again. He's trying to get the ball now to an outside receiver. The last drive they had, they just kind of ran the ball most of the time with 1 pass. This time they're coming out passing, but the Dolphins keep those 2 safeties deep, and it's very difficult to throw the ball on.
That one wasn't deflected. He just had the pressure put on, as he does here, and he's going to launch it deep downfield into double coverage, and it is intercepted at the 20-yard line by Sammy Knight, and Knight was contacted at that spot by David Patton, so the play is over there, but the ball belongs to Miami with 80 seconds to go in the half.
And that was the exact thing that Tom Brady was talking about last night, that you never get an open safety, that there's always a safety sitting there in the middle, and he said you have to see it. If you hold it too long, you get a strip sack. Here, he didn't hold it too long, but he threw it right into double coverage. But Sammy Knight is right there. Now, here's the big thing. They always have these 2 safeties deep. They always start this. They always give you that. They have the corners up in press here with these 2 guys, and that's a tough thing. It's tough to throw to your outside receivers because of press, and it's hard to throw in the middle because of the 2 safeties.
Knight's 3rd pick. Miami has all of its timeouts. Feely on the run, throws, caught, but out of bounds. Yes, no, inbounds and then out of bounds is Chris Chambers. He made the catch, and then he's out of bounds, so he got both feet in, and that'll be a 1st down up at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, one thing I think the Miami Dolphins figured out here is throwing a little more on 1st down and moving Feely around, because he had a tough time in the pocket with a pass rush. Here, by going bootleg and getting outside, they're finding a little more success.
Great body control that time. Both feet planted, made the catch, and then falls out of bounds. Ball at the 32-yard line. Feely flushed out again, throws, caught. Morris is free, and then he gets around Troy Brown to pick up the 1st down. Brown had a chance to stop at about the 40. He gets to the 45. A 15-yard gain, and now a timeout is taken with 1 minute and 2 seconds. Timeout taken by the Dolphins. 14-10 New England. 1:02 remaining in the half. 1st and 10. And again, there's that crazy defense for New England. Feely intended for Chambers and overthrows him, and it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, the first time they used that no defensive linemen, just all linebackers and secondary, was on 3rd down. This time it's on 1st down. And again, you just watch. They have 2 guys on the outside, 3 guys standing up. And the big thing here is you don't know who's going to come. But I'll tell you this, the Dolphins did a pretty good job of picking it up in pass protection. I think part of it, again, is the Miami Dolphins, instead of just going straight back, are starting to move the pocket.
And again, not a single defender with a hand on the ground. As Feely throws to the outside. Good coverage that time. Asante Samuel, the defensive back. Pass intended for Chambers. It'll be 3rd down and 10 as you look at Romeo Crennel, the defensive coordinator of the Pats.
Well, you know, one thing about the Patriots is they have 11 linebackers active. So you know that if you have 11 linebackers active, you have to have a role for them, and that's the way Bill Belichick does things. I think if I were playing this, now it's tough now with 49 seconds, but if they wanted to do this to you, I think you have to run them out of it. I think you have an advantage with your big guys against their linebackers.
3rd and 10, and that is caught out in the flat, and Morris gets taken down at the 49 by Roman Pfeiffer. And then New England, they're going to get the ball back, so they take a timeout, and they'll have 2 timeouts when they get it back. You know, they are the Patriots, John, have become the NFL's version of linebacker U, which they've always talked about. Joe Paterno at Penn State as linebacker, because they've turned out so many linebackers, and these guys have like 11 on the roster.
Yeah, you know, and I've always thought of Bill Belichick as a linebacker coach. You know, we know that he's a defensive coach, he's a coordinator and all those things, but I think his specialty is linebackers, and I think you say, where do you start to build a defense? Bill Belichick starts building a defense with his linebackers. And then he has all types. I mean, he has the big ones like Vrabel and McGinnis. He has the smaller, quick ones like a Teddy Bruschi. He has guys that just come in and rush, guys that, you know, just play pass. A guy like Don Davis who can play safety. I mean, he has a linebacker that can do about everything. And then in addition to that, they all play special teams.
Ted Johnson, another guy, 10th year out of Colorado. Turks punt. Bounces at the 2. Takes a great bounce for the Dolphins and will be down inside the 5-yard line by Corey Jenkins. So with 31 seconds and 2 timeouts after a 47-yard punt, Patriots have the ball. In the history of the National Football League, 26 out of 27 games won by the Dolphins. Of course, they had 14 of those during the perfect season, the regular season of 1972. 24 out of 25 won by the Patriots. Again, regular season games. So you'll take a look at, well, Don Shula's teams in the early 70s and the Patriots right there with him here in the new millennium.
There's some of those linebackers. There's Mike Vrabel. He's an edge player. We saw before that Teddy Bruschi, the middle player.
So a kneel down will end it. We'll hear from Shaquille O'Neal. Update you on Terrell Owens at halftime after a very quickly paced first half and a good ball game here in Miami. As the teams go back to the locker rooms. Coming up next, the Toyota halftime show with New England on top 14-10. And we'll have Madden, Michelle Tafoya. Full moon tonight. Well, maybe it's 2/3 of a moon, but it's over Miami anyway.
Do you ever believe a cow jumped over that? Or a dish ran away with a spoon?
Or it's made of green cheese? Or that Neil Armstrong actually walked on that thing?
And hit a golf ball?
Yeah. I think that was Alan Shepard hit the golf ball.
Alan Shepard,
yeah. Here we go as Anna Vinatieri hits the football to start the 3rd quarter. 15-yard line, Wes Welker. And he brings it back to the 38. He had the big play for Miami, the 71-yard punt return. He's tackled there by Rodney Harrison. And we go to Michelle.
Well, Bill Belichick said coming into this game he wanted to see a good overall football performance, and he told me at halftime every part of their game plan needs to improve. As far as that defense that was so unusual with no down linemen, he said he has used that before in the past. Not often, but he has. Jim Bates told me it's all about the running game here in the second half. He hasn't liked the way that his team has tried to stop the Patriots, and he said we haven't run the ball well. As far as slowing the Patriots, he's afraid to overcommit to the run because Brady is too good throwing, Al.
Well, they won't overcommit here because this is McMichael making the catch at the 45-yard line, and Willie McGinnis makes the tackle, and there's a flag at the end of the play.
I think Miami found something there.
Unnecessary roughness, sparing, number 37, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Rodney Harrison.
No, and they watch out for Rodney Harrison, don't they?
Yeah, when you hear spearing, you think about Rodney.
Right, and they're not going to let him get away with anything. And yes, they're right. That was a spear. The guy's down. You can't do it. I mean, even if you didn't spear him, you hit him late, you hit him after he was down, and that's a 15-yard penalty.
And the first penalty marched off against New England tonight, so that's the way the third quarter starts for Bill Belichick. 40-yard line. They're going to run a reverse here, and then they're going to drop the ball as Marty Booker drops it, and New England recovers it. Booker and Chambers, the two wide receivers, running the reverse, and New England winds up recovering it. And I think the way it looked, the way Booker was going to take the ball, he was going to take it and maybe throw it.
He was going to throw it. I saw him practice this in practice the other day, and it was a reverse pass. And the receiver is supposed to be McMichael. See, they hand on the reverse right here, and it's fumbled. Booker was going to come out here to the right and throw the ball to his tight end, Randy McMichael. But that's the problem with that reverse. You know, when you have a guy who doesn't hand the ball off, handling it off to someone who usually doesn't get it, you have a problem.
Now Dillon for 3, and that fumble was recovered by Vince Wilfork, number 75. Of the Patriots, who was their #1 draft choice, and a homecoming for him since he played his college football in Coral Gables at the University of Miami.
I've been watching him on film. He's playing very well. I mean, he plays in there sometimes with Keith Traylor, and sometimes he just plays a nose tackle, but both of those guys really handle the middle well, and that's a big part of this Patriot defense.
2nd down and 7 now for Brady and the Patriots from the 48-yard line. Underneath, checks off, and then Dillon gets whacked and knocked down as he makes the catch by the linebacker Moreland Greenwood.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see, he wants to go downfield, but he has, again, those corners pressing and those two safeties just sitting back. Watch these two safeties back here. This is a tough thing. You can't go downfield. See, there's nothing deep, there's nothing there, so you have to come in your check down. You have the press on the two outside guys. Then you have those two safeties sitting in there deep, so you have to go inside and or check down.
3rd and 8. Blitz. Brady steps up, fires, strike, 32-yard line. David Patton going to the ground and makes the catch, and a 3rd and long is converted on a 21-yard reception.
Yeah, we always talk about running backs and how they run, but the first thing they have to do is they have to be able to block. If the other team is going to blitz, they have to pick up a blitz. Now watch Corey Dillon there. He just takes his guy out, and then Tom Brady can step right up in that hole. If Corey Dillon doesn't do that, Tom Brady can't do this.
It was Greenwood who gets dumped. Ball at the 33-yard line, 1st and 10. Kevin Falk is the back. Pass caught. 27-yard line. David Patton over the middle. Gain of about 5. Some of the numbers now through the first half. Total yards 144 for the Pats, low for them. 89 for the Dolphins, which is very low, but they're in the game because of that 71-yard run back by Welker. 1 turnover in the game by the Patriots. And the Dolphins, of course, have started the second half with a turnover of their own. It's 2nd down and 4 from the 27-yard line, and Dillon goes through the middle. Tough running to the 20-yard line. First down, it's Falk through the middle. Still tough running.
Well, and that's the thing that you have to do. You know, when we showed those two safeties how they sit back there, that means that they're trying to handle defensively. They're handling the run with 7 guys. and you have to run them out of that. If they're not going to bring that safety up, if they don't want to get that 8th guy up there, then you have to be able to run the ball. As long as they keep these guys back here, and this is all they have, is you run them out of that defense, because you know that it's tough to throw in the middle and tough to throw deep.
1st and 10. And that's picked off at the 10-yard line by Sammy Knight, his 2nd of the game. And then New England tries to strip it, but it goes out of bounds. Good play by the Patriots to try to strip it and knock it out of bounds. There's a little skirmish at midfield. A flag is down, a couple as well, but the pickoff by Sammy Knight, and Miami gets it on the turnover.
And you just get the feeling that this Miami defense really does frustrate Tom Brady.
They did, despite the win on October 10th, and they're doing it again tonight.
He told us last night, he said, this is as tough a defense as we play against.
The ball was intercepted and fumbled forward out of bounds. We're bringing it back to the spot of the fumble. After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 72, New England. A 15-yard penalty, 1st down, timeout.
Matt Light, that gives Miami the ball in New England territory. 4 minutes into the 3rd quarter in a 4-point game. John, and Sammy Knight with both of them.
Sammy Knight, I think, baited Tom Brady into that one. We talked about how they were usually staying too deep, a deep here, a deep here. This time, Sammy Knight here starts up. Tom Brady reads it as 2 deep. It ends up as a 3 deep. And you see right there, Sammy Knight is the safety. He wasn't deep.
Now with this drive starting at the 43, that's Travis Minor going through the middle for a gain of 8. Getting a little frisky down there.
It has been. I mean, I'll say this: Miami Dolphins have only won 2 games this year, but they still have the fight in them. And people say, how do they play? Well, there's only one way to play. There's a game, and you have to play. And quitting is never an option.
2nd and a deuce from the 35-yard line. Minor exploits that little bit of a hole for a gain of 7, and that's a 1st down for the Dolphins at the 30-yard line.
You just see 29 in there, Earthwind Moreland. Wouldn't you think that somewhere they're going to see this on 1st down and go to work on him? The last time we had him, anytime they found Moreland, that was the guy they were going to go after.
Yep.
He's now playing out here at the right corner.
Replacing Randall Gay. And the 5-yard pickup here for Travis Minor. So they've stayed on the ground. 3 runs since taking over on the turnover. Mike Vrabel made the tackle for New England.
Well, we talked about that defense that the Patriots were using at the end of the game, where they didn't have any, at the end of the half, where they didn't have any defensive linemen in there. They had, all linebackers and defensive backs. And the way to get them out of that is run the ball. And I think that's probably what the Dolphins talked about, and that's keeping the Patriots out of that defense thus far.
And successfully so far in the 3 runs by Travis Minor. They picked up a 1st down, and now it's 2nd and 5, and that one is knocked down squarely at the line of scrimmage. Willie McGinnis got the whole hand on it, not just fingers. McGinnis, the #1 draft choice out of USC in 1994, 11th year as a New England Patriots. Stellar career.
And he's one of the guys that makes this defense go. I mean, he's one of the edge players. He can play the edge like a linebacker. He can pass rush like a defensive line. They have him on one side. They have Mike Vrabel on the other side, and that is a very big part of this Patriot defense.
3rd and 5 now. Under pressure, Feely gets it away, and going down and making the catch is Chambers. So they convert on 3rd down, and they'll set it up at the 16, 1st and 10.
This Miami offensive line is doing a lot better in pass protection. The first quarter, they couldn't hold anything out. And then Feely started to move a little and play action pass, and then they got back their pass protection, although he did have a free rusher coming from his backside on that one.
1st down at the 16-yard line. Troy Brown comes in for the Pats in this defensive set. Feely. Nowhere to go, and McGinnis will wrap him up for the sack, and a flag is thrown.
We talked about the Patriots when they had the defense with no defensive linemen in. These last couple of plays, they just had 2 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, 5 defensive backs.
Face mask, number 55, defense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the end of the run. It's still first down.
McGinnis.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Al. I was just saying, watch Mike Vrabel here. He's the other edge player, number 50. He's going to be the first guy in there, and he forces him up. And then the other edge guy is McGinnis, and he gets him, but he also gets a face mask. So they have Vrabel coming from one side, McGinnis coming from the other side.
And as Walt Anderson said, he forced from the end of the play, so it's first down and 8 from the 13-yard line. Miner looking for room, but gets surrounded by 4 white shirts. Mike Vrabel primarily. Third quarter of the season for Miami. Take a look at this. And that's, you know, through 13 games, 13 points. So they've gotten killed in the third period. Just 1 touchdown and 2 field goals.
Jim Bates says we're going to change that right here. We'll start scoring in that third quarter right now.
Second down and 6 from the 11-yard line. Pressure, gets it away, and then it's dropped. And that has been a bugaboo for Miami in the last few weeks, in particular last week against Denver. Dropped balls at the end. McMichael dropped it. Feely was under pressure that time from Ted Johnson.
And Ted Johnson just comes right up the middle on this. Watch, the center blocks one way, the right guard blocks out. No one blocks Ted Johnson. Can't blame the quarterback for that one. I mean, he's lucky that he got that thing away and incomplete.
Third and 6, just inside the 11-yard line. Halfway through the third quarter, New England up by 4. Blitz again, all kinds of pressure, but he gets it away for a first down as the catch is made by Darius Thompson at the 2. Troy Brown that time blitzed everybody coming for New England, but Feely able to get it away, and it's Thompson who makes his first catch of the night.
They even blitzed Troy Brown on that play. He was on the slot. He's going to come blitzing right here. See him come blitzing off the slot. So Feely knows that he has someone right there in the middle where Troy Brown comes from. See, Troy Brown comes from that side. He had 2 receivers out there.
Travis Minor is the running back. He'll get it on first and goal. Gets upended and scores. Head linesman comes in, signals touchdown, and Miami has the lead.
Look at Minor here. He's heels overhead. See, nothing touches the ground now. See, he comes in again. The ball has to break the plane before anything touches the ground. Nothing touched the ground on Travis Minor.
Murray adds the extra point. And so New England in a situation they've been in rarely this year, trailing. 6:50. Miami Dolphins wore it last year against Washington.
What do they call those jerseys when they wear orange? They're not throwback. They're
merchandise.
I know it's merchandise, but they have to have a word. They have to word for it.
Alternate jerseys.
Alternate, yeah, alternate jerseys. We'll buy anything.
That's right.
Merry Christmas.
At the 6-yard line, one hopper taken in by Patrick pass to the 29-yard line. 6:43 remaining in the third quarter. In Miami, it's a ball game. New England with its hands full. Dolphins are up by a field goal. The Pats are in a position they know very little about, trailing only to the Colts on opening night in that great Thursday night opener. They were down in the second half by 4, and then to the Steelers, who blew them out early on a day that Corey Dillon didn't play, their only loss of the year. Only times this season they've been trailing in the second half. Dillon. And John, we were talking about the Pats at the beginning and how they've been able to do it. I mean, to me, it's not only been winning. A lot of times when you have a streak like they have, You get lucky. You get an interception, a good bounce of the ball. But these guys just methodically, week after week, take the lead and don't look back.
Yeah, but don't you get the feeling that they still know how to play when they're behind it, even though they don't do it a lot, that Tom Brady's going to stay cool, and somewhere between now and the end of the game, he's going to do what they have to do to win this game?
Very much so, and he's proven that, of course, on the biggest stage of all in 2 Super Bowls. 2nd down and 8 from the 31-yard line. Brady swings it outside, caught by Deion Branch. And that will be a first down. He's run out of bounds by Sam Madison. Now in the AFC at the moment, Pittsburgh would have home field advantage by virtue of their win over New England. They're 13-1. New England would go to 13-1. San Diego's clinched the West. They're in the playoffs. And Indianapolis with 11-3 as well in the South. And right now at the moment you've got the Jets. They would go to the playoffs. And then Jacksonville, Baltimore, Denver, and Buffalo are all 8-6. Wild scramble to the finish. From the 41. You know, John, the interesting thing too is in the NFC, it is now mathematically certain that a team that's 8-8 or 7-9 will go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know, but what are they going to do when they get in the playoffs? I mean, that's the thing. I know Terrell Owens, you know, and the Eagles losing him was a big blow, but if not them, who? You know, and say, oh, that's going to hurt their chances to go to the Super Bowl to win a championship game. But who's going to beat them? I mean, who are we talking about? We're talking about Carolina, Atlanta, Minnesota, Green Bay.
Dillon on 2nd and 6. You know, they're not on Monday night, so we haven't had a chance to talk about them that much. But to Jim Mora Jr. and to Rich McKay and to those folks in Atlanta, what a job they've turned in. I mean, they come from behind. They win the other night. Right now they're the number 2 seed. What a spectacular job done by Mora and gang down there.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing. I mean, a new coach, a new staff. You come in, you put in a program, and I think they finally realize that you just have to let Michael Vick be Michael Vick. There's no, you know, West Coast offense, read this, read that. Just go play. And when he goes and plays, there's not a heck of a lot better football players than Michael Vick in this league.
3rd and 1 with Vrabel and Seymour both in the game offensively, and now Brady goes to the outside, and Daniel Graham, with a flag thrown at the end for the moment, picks up a first down, and they might even tack on some more yardage here.
Again, that was the time that Tom Brady had. He got back and he had very good pass protection or no pass rush at all, and he looked to the right, and finally came back to Daniel Graham.
Personal foul, grabbing and pulling the face mask. Number 52, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Marlon Greenwood.
You know, you said that Mike Vrabel, the linebacker, was in there and as a tight end. That's who Tom Brady was looking for. Vrabel is at the right tight end right here, and he's going to run a corner. See, he starts there, then he's trying to get out. Brady's waiting. Vrabel doesn't get open, so then he comes across the field to Daniel Graham. What happens when you put a linebacker in and tell him to run a corner pattern?
Now on first down from the 25-yard line, it's Dillon. Started one way, goes the other, and Dillon is out of bounds near the goal line as Arturo Freeman finally runs him out. So Corey Dillon tonight has carried the ball a total of 20 times for 93 yards, and he gets 20 on that rush.
Yeah, it was that same run that he got earlier on him where it's going to be a run wide to the right, and he ends up bringing it all the way back wide to the left. See, he starts there, but he knows that he has a cutback. The first time, I think he instinctively reacted to it. That time, I think he planned it in his own mind. He's going to get that ball, look like he's going to, and the first chance he was going to take that cutback.
Stepped out at the 5. Now they give it to the up back. That's Patrick Pass. In the role of fullback here through the middle. Flag is thrown on the far side of the field.
That's usually a play you run about twice a year to fool him, and it never does. You know, you got the fullback, he never runs with the ball, and you give it to him down in this area, and he gets it back to the line of scrimmage, and 11 guys jump on him.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 29, defense. Half the distance to the goal, Automatic first down.
Sam Madison. And an automatic first instead of second and goal, half the distance and first down.
Yeah, I think Charlie Wise has gone back to his play calling, is trying to run him out of that cover 2. You know, on this play he's had 5 runs and 2 passes. Earlier, you know, when he tried that pass and all that time, they had trouble. I think it frustrated Tom Brady a little. Getting the running game going takes the frustration out.
28 rushes, 21 passes tonight. Brady will throw it here. Has time, and it's knocked away at the last moment. They tried to get it to Vrabel, and Jenkins goes back. Corey Jenkins, the linebacker, to bust it up.
Those were the 2 guys that were in the pass pattern, a defensive lineman and a linebacker. One was short and one was deep, and that makes the head coach grab his head with both hands. You see, Seymour gets knocked off. He doesn't have a chance. Vrabel has a little chance, but there's pretty good coverage there. See, there's nothing there to Seymour, a little to Vrabel, but also good coverage.
Second and goal from the 2. New England trying to reassume the lead. And Corey Dillon gets stopped in the backfield. Good play by Sammy Knight, as Sammy Knight was able to get him by the ankle and knock him down. Third and goal.
Bill Belichick's been doing that a lot tonight, hasn't he? Grabbing his head with both hands.
Well, you know, the thing about Bill is he never wants to exult. He never wants to look ahead. You talk to him about his team. Bill, you're 12-1. Well, we're making a lot of mistakes.
He wants to be perfect.
Exactly. He wants to pitch a perfect game. You've got Seymour and Vrabel, per usual, in short yardage. Third down and goal. Fake to Dillon. Look at that time for Brady. Swings it to the outside and finds Dillon. Touchdown. We said before, Dillon doesn't catch a lot of passes. He certainly wasn't the first option there, but boy, do they have great timing or what?
Well, they have to keep him in there to go the play action. That's exactly what they do. Seymour on the lead. Good fake, but look at the time that Tom Brady has and the coolness, and he looks all over the place. Here's Mike Vrabel blocking on that backside, so he didn't have any pass receivers out there on his left, so he looked out there, but there was nothing there anyway. Then he finally came back to Corey Dillon.
Vinatieri for the point after, and leave it to the Patriots to take the lead on the first touchdown catch made by Corey Dillon since he was a Bengal in 2001. 2:07 remaining in the third. Pats up by 4. Tops in the NFC, and the Rams battling Seattle for the NFC West title. And believe it or not, Arizona is still mathematically alive. St. Louis, Philadelphia next Monday night. New England trailed for only 4 minutes and 43 seconds. They're up again, 21-17. Vinatieri's kick fielded 6-yard line. Wes Welker gives him a little energy burst there as he takes it up to the 36-yard line. 2:01 remaining in the third quarter. Patriots 21, Dolphins 17. The Denver Broncos trying to stay alive in the AFC. They go to Tennessee. Sunday Night Football at 8:30 on ESPN. The Cleveland Browns come here to face the Miami Dolphins, who tonight are giving the New England Patriots all they can handle. And they have the ball down by 4. 2 minutes to go in the period. Feely unloads. Good coverage. Incidental contact. Samuel and Chambers getting their feet tangled. No flag. Here's Michelle.
Al, Mike Vrabel was such a big part of New England's last drive. He's another guy playing both ways tonight. You know, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings, a wife, 2 kids, an NFL income. He seems to have it all, but there was something he wanted, and that was his college diploma. So 11 years after first enrolling at Ohio State, he went back to Columbus to take the one class he needed to graduate. Went through graduation ceremonies, got his diploma, which he said was, quote, really cool. So, Al, why did he put off that one class for so long? He told me because it was biochemistry.
You can't keep that away long enough. 48-yard line. The pass is incomplete. Marty Booker, the intended receiver, and Eugene Wilson was there.
What do you do with it after you have the course? What do you do? I mean, you're a linebacker. They use you as a tight end. In fact, he's been in on 8 offensive plays tonight. I mean, Mike Vrabel is earning his paycheck tonight. But when you get biochemistry?
Biochemistry.
Yeah. What do you do with it?
You go out and you win a Nobel Prize, I guess.
If you're a linebacker.
Makes for an even better story. 3rd down and 10. And a little side-handed flip to Sammy Morris up to the 39-yard line. Roman Pfeiffer came in. And just prior to the sack, a little flip by Feely, but it results in a minimal gain.
You see the guy that almost got the sack, it was a biochemist.
Yes.
Well, Mike Vrabel, he puts a lot of pressure on from this side. I mean, he stands up, he gets in a 3-point stance sometimes. Here, he just bull rushes a big tackle. I mean, Damian McIntosh is a tackle there. He just goes right into him and bull rushes him right into A.J. Feely.
Matt Turk. He'll do the punting. A bomb. Fair catch call for made, 8-yard line. Kevin Falk. On the subject of Mike Vrabel, here's more.
The quality I most admire is toughness. It would shock you to know that I've had a hole-in-one. My hidden talent is dominoes. Favorite food is filet and lobster, surf and turf. When it comes to music, I love to listen to it loud. Turn it up. If I could choose my nickname, I'd be Money.
Well, he can go through the rest of his life telling people, I scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. But you're a linebacker, Mike. I still scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Did, and they tried to get one to him tonight. They had him run that corner pattern, and Tom Brady was trying to throw him another one. Of course, Super Bowl is one thing. I mean, just a regular season game in Miami doesn't count on anything like a Super Bowl.
Not as good as a hole-in-one. It's pretty good too. From the 9-yard line, 1st down for the Patriots. Brady goes to work. Duns it to Branch. He loves Branch. Branch takes it to the 33. Branch missed a lot of the season. He was hurt, came back in that Kansas City game, had a big night, still trying to work his way back to 100%, 23 yards, but Brady speaks glowingly of number 83.
Well, he feels so comfortable with him. It's one of those things that he said he's such a smart player. I mean, he knows defenses, he knows reads, just like a quarterback, and when he sees a defense, he knows exactly where he's supposed to be.
From the 32, 1st down. Brady again. Now he's going to go deep. There's a flag down, and the pass is knocked away by Sammy Knight, intended for David Patton. And there's a flag all the way in the secondary back at the Miami 43-yard line.
I tell you, this offensive line is doing a heck of a job of protecting for Tom Brady. I mean, in this second half, he has had time on time on time.
The quarterback was in the pocket, and before the pass is thrown, illegal contact, number 29, defense, 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Sam Madison.
You know, one thing about both of these corners, Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison, is they play up tight, and they're always going to be pressing. And you just see right here, you see after he's back a little too far, so he hits him after that 5-yard. Usually they're right up on him so they can kind of ride him that first 5 yards. That time he was back about 5 yards, and by the time he hit him, he was past 5 yards.
Surtain and Madison have been a very good duo for this team for a number of seasons as Patrick Pass takes it up to the 40, and that will take us to the 4th quarter. So at the end of 3, the New England Patriots 21, the Miami Dolphins 17. And Monday Night Football from Florida continues after this message from our ABC stations.
He just loves football.
He is on fire.
This is the way to start it.
Welcome to Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football. Eagles, Rams. Next Monday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Center follows the game, and as you look at Bill Belichick on the left, Charlie Weiss, the offensive coordinator, and the new football coach, the head coach at Notre Dame on the Patriots sideline. Brady on 2nd and 7, throws over the middle. Patrick Pass makes the catch and gets rolled down just short of the 1st down. John, when you were the coach at Oakland, you had John Robinson on your staff. Wasn't that a similar situation where he was going to become a college coach, but he still had work to do with the Raiders. And how'd that work out?
Well, you know, John Robinson's my best friend, so it worked out well. But it is a very difficult thing. I mean, you only have so much time you can give to football, and you have to give everything you've given to the Patriots. Plus, you have a new team, and you have half that you have to give to Notre Dame. So there's only one hole, and you start splitting up, and there are too many things going on.
They call the play for Dillon here, and he's going to come up short of the first down, so it'll be 4th and inches.
But I mean, on one hand, he has to get a staff for Notre Dame. He has to recruit. He has to get offense and defense in the football he's going to do. Then on the other hand, he has to get the Patriots offense ready for a game, and there's just so much Charlie Weis. So Bill Belichick said that they made some modifications on their staff, so he's not doing as much as he used to do.
And I'm wondering if Belichick might not assume a larger role in the offense. You think of him as a defensive guy, but he does spend a lot of time with the offense.
Right, and knowing Bill Belichick, I would say yes, that he would spend more time.
Josh Miller to punt. Fair catch called for. 19-yard line by Wes Welker. And let's check in again with Michelle.
Well, I spoke with Notre Dame athletic director Kevin White yesterday. I asked him just those questions about Charlie Weis and what he expected in terms of him being able to recruit and assemble his staff. And he said, look, Charlie Weis is doing a great job of balancing it, but his first priority is the Patriots right now. I did learn that Weis was on campus at Notre Dame 2 days last week, and he also on Saturday went up to Ohio to visit with a recruit that had previously committed under Tyrone Willingham and then withdrawn his commitment. So the juggling has already begun for Charlie Weis, guys.
Yeah, that's a tough part. I mean, it's not only tough for Charlie Weis, but it's also tough for Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
Sammy Morris stopped at the line of scrimmage. Speaking of Charlie Weis and Ty Willingham, who was fired at Notre Dame and then took the Washington job. If you follow college football, you probably know that next year Notre Dame will play at Washington.
Right, and the other thing is Charlie Weis has really been responsible for Tom Brady and what Tom Brady's done. And Tom said he's going to root for him. He wishes him well, and he's going to do well at Notre Dame. But Tom Brady went to Michigan, and Notre Dame plays Michigan. That's going to be a tough one.
2nd and 10, and that is caught by Donald Lee. When you think about Notre Dame, of course, the unique football tradition. But take a look at that. The quarter century between 70 and 94, they had 26 #1 picks in the 25 drafts. But here it is in recent times, the last 10 years, only 3 #1s in the last 10 drafts. So it's gotten tougher to recruit for Notre Dame because the other schools are competing against them. And Charlie Weis being brought in to try to bring back the glory. Sammy Morris to the 31-yard line. At least the glory on the football field.
Just hearing that fight song, I'd want to go play there again. But, you look at Charlie Weis. I mean, here's a guy that went to Notre Dame and didn't play football there, but that was his college. And to have a chance, just think what it was like when he went there and he wanted to go to Notre Dame and the tradition of Notre Dame and everything. And then now at this point in your life, you get back, you get to go back a place that you didn't even play or couldn't play, go back as a head coach.
Charlie rumored for a long time to get an NFL job. It winds up in South Bend. Here's Sammy Morris. You saw Bob and Jonathan Kraft. Scrum here at the end means nothing. We talked about it, and we have in the past, about the New England Patriots. And right now, Bob and Jonathan Kraft, they've owned the team for about a decade. And like, any new owner at first, the town and the area, they didn't know what to think about him. And the team at one point even made a deal to move to Hartford. Now, of course, a new stadium. And when you look at what they've done, this has very much become the model franchise, not only in the NFL, but in all of the major North American team sports. 2nd and 6. And Feely gets taken down. And John, when you look at this team, and we've talked about the success and what they're doing right now, and they have the salary cap handled perfectly right now. The only way they lose a coach is if Notre Dame comes along and offers it. This guy is, like phenomenal. And I think most people now think Belichick is the best coach in the league. They've got Scott Pioli in the front office. as I say, a new stadium, and things couldn't be better.
They have everything going. But, you know, the thing that I like about Bill Belichick is nothing just happens. You know, it's like he was talking about Troy Brown playing defense as he is right now. But they started this in minicamp. They did this in training camp. They did this in the preseason.
3rd and 6, and that catch is made along the near side by Chris Chambers. So they convert Asante Samuel with the coverage. Flag is down.
Tell you one thing, if we were trying to find out something about A.J. Feely.
78, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Back it comes to Gino James.
One thing you're learning about A.J. Feely is he's a lot better when he's moving. You're going to see Gino James is number 78 right here. And see, he just, yeah, that's a hold. Yep, that's a pretty good hold. Yeah, he did it. But anyway, A.J. Feely, I think, is a lot better when he can, you know, scramble and throw the ball or bootleg or move out of the pocket.
3rd and 16. Straight back he goes, starts to move again, and then it's caught by the running back Sammy Morris. Troy Brown in the secondary makes the tackle, and Miami will kick with 9.5 to go.
That time they had 2 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, 5 defensive backs, and you know, Troy Brown comes in as a corner, but he plays a slot guy. And they figure that, you know, he knows what the slot receiver is trying to do, so he knows how to play the slot. That time it was just a zone. I mean, he was just on the slot and just tried to reroute him at the line of scrimmage.
Turk. 23. Kevin Falk from the 23-yard line to the 35-yard line. 56 remaining in the 4th. New England trying to make it 13 out of 14, leading Miami 21-17.
You gotta get yourself up. You've been knocked down, get yourself up. You've been shot down, get yourself up. You've been locked down, get yourself up.
Back in Miami. Game winding down, 1st and 10. New England with a 4-point lead. Corey Dillon. Gain of 1. Recap tonight. Some of the highlights and what the guys have been doing. Tom Brady, 158 through the air, 2 touchdowns and 2 Sammy Knight interceptions. Corey Dillon, 94 yards now, 23 carries, and has scored twice. Wes Welker kept Miami very much in the game with that 71-yard punt return leading to a touchdown, and the aforementioned Sammy Knight with 2 interceptions. It's 2nd down and 10. A little toss back, and Dillon's going to cut it back. And Corey Dillon takes it up to the 42. Corey Dillon this year making his first ever appearance on Monday Night Football. Earlier this year has now gained 100 yards, and Johnny goes to the playoffs for the first time in his career.
I'll tell you, he made the right move in coming to the Patriots, and the Patriots made the right move in bringing in Corey Dillon. If their offense needed anything, it was a running back, an every down running back, a guy that can carry the ball 30 times a game if needed, can gain 100 yards like he does, and they got him.
That's exactly what he's gained tonight in 24 carries, 100 yards for him. On 3rd and 4, it is caught by Deion Branch over the middle, takes the ball into Miami territory. Derek Pope, the rookie linebacker, tackles him, and a 1st down for New England.
You want to see a definition of toughness in a quarterback? Watch Tom Brady on this play. I mean, you know you're going to get hit, but you don't look at the rush. You just look downfield and hang in there, and you know you're going to get it, and you just throw the ball. Tom Brady is a cool guy, and Tom Brady is a tough guy. I mean, just to look, he's not looking at the rush, he's not looking down, he's looking downfield the whole time, knows he's going to get hit, and steps into it.
1st and 10, 48-yard line. Kevin Falk is now the running back. Gain of 3. You know, you're talking about Brady and all the things he can do. You know, one way to really highlight the consistency of this guy is whether he throws short or long or intermediate. He's been extremely effective, extremely consistent. There are his numbers for the game tonight. They've been better, but again, it's one of those effective nights, and here he is with the lead. And look at that, the consistency. The short pass to the long pass, and that's the most consistent rating by length for any quarterback in the league. So he's really, I mean, he's just in the prime of his life and the prime of his career right now.
And the two things that impress me about him are his coolness and his toughness.
2nd down and 7 from the 45. And that's Kevin Falk who gets free to the 30-yard line. Pure respect. There's nothing like it. Here's what Jason Taylor has to say about Tom Brady.
The guy knows how to win. That's all he does since he's been in the league is win. You know, he's two-time Super Bowl champ, two-time MVP. I mean, Peyton Manning has big numbers and has done a lot of great things. Tommy's won a lot of games and won the 2 big ones. So if I start a team tomorrow, you give me a bunch of money, I won't give it all the time, but I'll give a bunch of it.
You know, I feel the same way. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
If I wanted to start a team, I think I'd start it with this guy.
From the 29, Kevin Falk. When people talk about quarterbacks and match them up and go to Marino and Elway and Falk is down, so they signal to the bench. One of the things they talk about is, can a guy bring it from behind? Can he lead a fourth-quarter comeback or win a game for you in overtime? Maybe Brady's numbers aren't good in that department, but it's for a good reason. They're almost never behind. He's never in a position to have to bring them from behind.
No, but you still have the feeling, even tonight when they got behind, you still had the feeling, okay, they're behind, but they aren't going to lose. I mean, Tom Brady is going to do something. This offense is going to do something to bring them back.
Dan Marino can certainly appreciate what he sees tonight.
Let Stephen Neal here come on Jason Taylor. That's a trap. You know, you let him go, you let him come across the line of scrimmage, and then you bring the guard from the offside. Stephen Neal trapped Jason Taylor perfectly. Yeah, we haven't heard a lot of Jason Taylor this second half, have we? I mean, they've done this Patriot offensive line and has done a good job of pass protection.
Used to getting double teamed. Dillon through the hole, runs into the official, and that's the only reason he doesn't get into the end zone. It takes an umpire to stop him. Butch Hanna, the umpire, got in the way, but it's still 1st and goal.
And I think that Bill Belichick found out something here, that if they want to keep those 2 safeties deep, if they want to play that far off the line of scrimmage, if they want to clog up a lot of the passing lanes, we'll just run Corey Dillon right up the middle. In fact, on this drive, 7 plays, they've run the ball 6 times past 1.
So it takes a 12th man to stop him, at least for the moment.
But he follows Seymour.
Fake to Patrick pass, and then the throw. Caught. Tight end Daniel Graham. Touchdown Patriots.
I bet Dillon follows Seymour and Tom Brady fakes to him and throws the ball.
Bill still had his hands clasped behind his head despite the touchdown.
And he will until the game is over. Watch this. Excellent play action pass. You just get everything going to the left. They bite on everything, and then Tom Brady comes back and throws it to the right corner. I mean, he threw it right where the only guy that was going to catch that was Daniel Graham.
Vinatieri to make it an 11-point game, which he does. So a tick under 4 minutes to play in the 4th quarter in Miami. The New England Patriots 28, the Miami Dolphins sit down there with UB Brown.
You know, one of the things that Shaq said I agree with, that, you know, that you don't have to get along with your teammates, and there's no team. I mean, you know, the most winning teams, I'll guarantee you all the players don't get along.
And he said that. He talked about Kobe Bryant at halftime, Wes Welker, and gave us another promotional tool with Kobe driving the lane. It's the Corvette going up against the 2 remaining in the 4th quarter, and A.J. Feely trying to lead this drive from the 32-yard line, throws underneath to Sammy Morris, and the ex-Buffalo Bill is up to the 47-yard line, and the Dolphins will go no huddle.
Yeah, because you know we always talk about a 2-minute drill. There's also a 4-minute drill, and then a 4-minute drill when you need 2 scores, and that's what the Dolphins are doing now.
That's what they need. They have all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, and the pass is underthrown. Intended for Darius Thompson. It'll be 2nd down. You know, I was thinking about, as you look at Bill Belichick, the coaching change that will probably take place here in Miami. And I say probably Jim Bates will have an official interview tomorrow. But if Saban comes, I wonder if Bates will remain as the defensive coordinator, because the two of them worked together under Belichick at Cleveland.
Well, you wonder, I mean, a lot of times you don't want to stay. You know, like, I mean, Jim Bates is going to be interviewed for the head coaching job tomorrow. And then if he doesn't get it, I don't know that you're not better off moving on. I mean, going from a defensive coordinator to an interim head coach, back to defensive coordinator at the same place, I don't know that that's something I would want to do.
And I think he's respected enough that around the league there would be an opportunity for him.
Look at this. There's that defense again. All linebackers and defensive backs.
43-yard line. Feely slings it to the outside. Chambers will take a step out of bounds to stop the clock. Ball at the 38-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down at about 6.
I think A.J. Feely's figuring it out. A.J. Feely's filling it out now. Figuring it out now that it doesn't make any difference if they have that defense. It's still just reading the coverage, because they're only going to rush 4 anyway. So it's going to end up like, you know, 4 linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 defensive backs.
2nd and 6, and they give it to Morris, and New England not expecting a run. And Sammy takes it to the 26-yard line, and he's tackled there by Troy Brown, back in on defense after a 12-yard rush.
Right, and that's why you don't play that defense all the time, because the way to get you out of that defense is just to run the ball right at it.
1st and 10, 26. Feely takes the snap in the shotgun. Throws over the middle. Morris tackled at the 19-yard line. Second and 3 now, 2.5 to go.
This is where this whole thing catches up with the Dolphins. You know, new quarterback, different system, coaches.
Only a 3-man rush, but enough to put a lot of heat on Feely. And then the pass is incomplete, but Chambers gets interfered with in the end zone. Rodney Harrison.
And that's going to put the ball at the 1-yard line. You see Chris Chambers is number 84 right here. You see he is open there in that back line. Rodney Harrison interferes. He doesn't even look. He's not looking at the ball. He's not doing anything except pass interfering with Chris Chambers.
Yeah, Rodney was arguing the call, but if you had a clinic for what pass interference is in, that's evidence A.
How can you argue with that?
1st and goal from the 1, and Sammy Morris will try to knife his way in, and does. Touchdown, Miami. So the Dolphins are down by 5 and figure to go for 2.
That was an interesting play there. You know, you had your lead, and you usually expect a lead where the fullback lead blocks and the tailback comes in behind him. That time the fullback went to the right, and Sammy Morris came in to the opposite side.
Forward progress almost stopped before he got in, but he's able to get it over. And they'll go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. Down by 5. They send Chambers in motion. And Feely throws, and it's too high. Intended for Marty Booker, but he's out of the end zone, so they'll still need a touchdown. 2:07. They have all of their timeouts. They have the 2-minute warning. A lot of time. It's a 5-point game with New England on top, looking for their 7th straight win. The New England Patriots right now are in what they call an onside prevent defense. In other words, they have 10 guys, as you can see, between the 40 and 50. Only David Patton is back. For Miami, you don't really have to do this right now, because you have 4 clock stoppages, assuming the run back takes less than 7 seconds. That's the only problem. It could cost them in effect, a free timeout if this goes to the 2-minute warning. So those are the options Miami has to consider. With all of their timeouts, they could opt to conventionally kick it and take their timeouts defensively. Here we go.
Which is, I think, they'll do. They're going to conventionally kick this. This won't be an onside kick.
And they do. And then Patton has to go back with no blocking. And from the 4-yard line, he runs out of bounds. And I'll tell you what, he just did Miami a very nice favor by not taking 7 seconds to run that back, because in effect it stops now. They'll have to snap it. They'll get the 2-minute warning and then 3 timeouts. So by not running the ball at least 7 seconds on that play, he does Miami a small favor.
Right, and then if Miami defense can stop the Patriots right now, there's even a 5th stoppage, a change of possession. So they have their 3 timeouts. As you say, they're going to get the 2-minute warning, and then if they can stop them in 3 downs, when they punt, that stops the clock.
One of the rare things overlooked by New England, anticipating the onside kick, only Patton was back. And if he would have taken 7 seconds, they would have in effect saved a timeout or cost Miami a free stoppage. 1st and 10. Brady has that one knocked down, and so that comes at the 2-minute warning. David Bowens, and again, Brady went into tonight's game in 13 games not having a single pass deflected at the line. And highlights interviews all coming up. Right now coming up is a 2nd down and 10.
The Patriots need a 1st down, and the Dolphins have to stop them from getting a 1st down on these 2 downs.
They give it to Dillon. They stop him here. They'll take a timeout, and they have still 2 remaining. So it'll be 3rd down and long for New England. Monday Night Football from Miami being brought to you by Black & Decker. Great gift ideas for the holidays brought to you by Black & Decker. And IBM, making on-demand business a reality for companies around the world. Skyline of Miami. It's about a 35-minute drive from Pro Player Stadium. During commercial, Bob Sanders is kind of taken over in the old job of Jim Bates. There he is. Bates is right there, the defensive coordinator before he became the head coach, getting together about what they have to do here.
Yeah, but Jim Bates called the entire defense over, so they all came over to the sideline and huddled on the sideline and decided what they have to do is just that on 1st down, 2nd down. Then this is a big down coming up right here. Miami has to stop them. The Patriots have to get a 1st down.
If they stop them, they can take a timeout, and they'll still have 1 timeout remaining on offense, which is what that short run back did to New England. Brady, he's going to get sacked, and he's going to just throw it up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Brendan Ayanbadejo is intercepting the pass as Brady is going down. Jason Taylor, who'd been fairly quiet in the 2nd half, forced the issue.
Patrick Surtain came on a blitz off the slot, too. So he had the pressure from Taylor, and you see him, he just took Brady down. Remember last week, Brady did that same thing. He was going down, he threw a pass, but the pass was completed. And he said last night, he said, that was a stupid thing, I shouldn't have done it. He did the same thing tonight, and usually when you throw a pass away like that, this is what happens. Bill Belichick said, I didn't like what he did last week. Tom Brady said he didn't like what he did last week, but he did it again tonight.
And whistles before the snap here.
Before the ball was snapped, false start, number 31, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Running back Sammy Morris.
I mean, that's something that, you know, Tom Brady is so cool and so smart. Then you get into this, and this is something you can't do. He didn't have to do it. It's 3rd down. He's not going to get a 1st down, even if that's completed. I mean, he had to take the sack there.
I guess he's not perfect.
Nope.
1st and 15. And it's thrown over the middle into double coverage intended for McMichael. Rodney Harrison, the safety, and Roman Pfeiffer, the linebacker, had him bracketed.
Jim Bates has to be thinking here with A.J. Feely that this is a 4-down area. You know, so you have to be thinking of, you know, a 2nd down and a 3rd down, and you're going to go for it on 4th down. You don't need a field goal in this situation.
2nd down and 15. at the 26-yard line. New England up by 5. Here comes Harrison on the blitz. Picked up by Morris. Pass to the outside. Caught. Marty Booker steps out at about the 21. Asante Samuel with the coverage. 3rd and long coming.
That's when the Patriots get you in long yardage like that last play. That's when they will blitz you. They do come after you, and they did come after A.J. Feely on that one. Now they have 3rd down. I would expect them to blitz Feely on this down.
3rd down and 10. And Feely to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for Darius Thompson. The coverage by Earthwind Moreland. No flag.
Hey, Jim Bates was out there in the field. Here he is out here. You see him just run a plane up. He has pretty good speed, and he's tall. So if that ball was out there a little deeper, he would have had a shot at a touchdown there. Brady said, I need one more play here to dodge a stupid bullet.
And Miami has a 4th down play. Bates arguing his case with the officials. Meanwhile, Miami's going to take a timeout here. The fascinating thing in a way is if they had not taken this timeout and had failed on the 4th down, they still would have had time with 2 timeouts to wind up getting the ball back again after New England had it. But there is Bates, and you can see he's crazed over the non-call.
Well, that was way on the opposite side. I'm sure that he's just rooting or hoping for that, or some coach up in the booth told him that, because there's no way he could see it from where he was. But he's competing, isn't he? Yeah. They say interim coach, only won 2 games. Here's what he's arguing about here. Oh
yeah.
He's right, isn't it?
He's 1,000% right.
Yeah, because that's the thing. He didn't turn his head. He didn't look back. Earthwind Moreland. That's the guy you want to work on. If I were going to do it, I'd go right back to the same thing on the same guy.
And so now it's 4th down and 10, and New England's going to take a timeout. Wanted to see what Miami looked like as they came up to the line of scrimmage. So 1:29 left. All week Belichick was saying, because the press wants to say, oh, this is an easy game, you're heavily favored to the New England Patriots, and he kept talking about Miami and how tough Miami is, and even at 2-11 they're playing them the way they've played them for a number of years.
And there's some teams that just match up well against you, and no matter how good you are and how bad they are. I remember when I was coaching, the San Diego Chargers were bad, but they always gave us a tough game. They always matched up well against us, and Miami is one of those teams that matches up well against what the New England Patriots do. But I would go right back on Earthwind Moreland again, because Jim Bates was right. That should have been interference, and if not, I think you can get a touchdown on it.
4th down and 10. Feely throwing to the end zone again, and it is caught by Darius Thompson for the touchdown. Darius Thompson covered by Troy Brown. Bates says, let's go for 2. And for the first time this season, this crowd has something to really cheer about.
Yeah, because this team hung in there. I mean, this Miami Dolphin team, they had chances to be down. They could have came into this game down, but they competed.
And Bates is now going to say, let's take a timeout, regroup, and send in the 2-point play.
Yeah, he had his pick there. He had Earthwind Moreland outside. He had Troy Brown inside. And you're going to see Darius Thompson is now the inside receiver. Troy Brown, number 80, is going to be the defender. He is playing him deep and off to the inside. That was a bad angle. I mean, that was a good read by A.J. Feely when he saw the defender as Troy Brown. And look where Troy Brown is playing him. He threw it where there was no way Troy Brown could get it.
And Thompson was one of the GOATs last week when he dropped a pass on their last drive against Denver. And Feely goes sprinting off the field. Brady, of course, still has plenty of time. There's a minute 23 on the clock. New England still has 2 timeouts. And Miami tries to make it a 3-point differential. No play. No play. Flag before the snap.
Before the ball was snapped, false start, number 86, offense. 5-yard penalty. We'll retry from the 7-yard line.
Marty Booker, so the 2-pointer now from 7 yards away.
That's not bad in this situation. It gives them another shot at it, and then that gives you five more yards here. I think that's probably easier to get a 2-point pass completion from here than it is in a 2-point range.
Takes away the run, but you're right, there's a lot more room from the 7-yard line.
And boy, I like this out here. I mean, I think they could work out there all day.
Feely instead looks over the middle, gets hit as he throws, and it's knocked down in the end zone. Knocked down by Teddy Bruschi. So with 1:23, and then Feely gets hurt. Meanwhile, for the Dolphins, you start with a Harrison interference call, and then Morris is able to knife his way in for a touchdown. Then Brady going down, he would have been sacked, but at least they would have held the football. Ian Badejo with the interception, then Thompson beats Brown on the touchdown pass. And then after the failed 2-point conversion, we'll see if New England can get into field goal range. But John, for New England, it's only the second time this season they have trailed in the 4th quarter. The other, of course, being the game where Pittsburgh took the early lead and romped to a win.
Yeah, there's so many games in the NFL, though, that come down to the 4th quarter. You know, you can talk about being fired up. You have to go out there and how you start and what you're going to do, offense, defense, special teams. But it's really how you play right now. You know, how you play the 4th quarter, how you play the last 4 minutes, how you play the last 2 minutes, how you play the last possession.
.83 seconds and 2 timeouts. And right now the Steelers are enjoying this because this would give them a little pad here in the battle for home field. They already have it even if New England wins. But this will come close to cementing it for the Steelers. Good kickoff. Kevin Falk from the 1 to the 23 with 1:17. And of course they have Adam Vinatieri, one of the premier kickers in the league. The AFC playoffs at the moment with Pittsburgh on top, and they hold the tiebreaker because they won. San Diego and Indianapolis, division leaders. Jets right now would be in the playoffs, and then that mad scramble between Jacksonville, Baltimore, Denver, and Buffalo. The Pats are at the Jets next week and then host the 49ers. The Steelers play the Ravens next week and close at Buffalo.
And the Patriots are playing the Miami Dolphins right now in a big drive that they need.
From the 24. We talked about Brady not having a lot of come from behind wins because he's rarely behind, but here's an opportunity tonight. And Brady has to spin away, and then he gets taken down at the 15. David Bowens finishes him off. Jason Taylor then finishes Bowens off. Vinatieri loosens up. New England takes a timeout. 9-yard sack. It'll be 2nd down and 19.
You know, I think Jason Taylor was the first guy there, and he kind of forces them to stand up. Watch Jason Taylor here. He's going to be first. He's going to put the pressure on him from that side. See, and he sees it, and then he starts to spin from Jason Taylor, and there's David Bowens right there. Watch Taylor come in here on Matt Light. He just kind of runs right through him. And then when Brady spins, he spins right into David Bowens. And then Taylor, who started the whole thing, jumps on Bowens.
So 2 sacks against Brady tonight, 3 interceptions. And we talk about batted balls. He had none in 13 games and 2 tonight. So the Miami defense has done its job at the most opportune times. And it's 2nd down and 19.
This is where this guy is really tough in these situations.
Light stays in to block him. Brady gets the pass off under pressure, and it's intercepted again. Arturo Freeman to cement the ball game.
Look at this Miami Dolphin team. You just say when a team's out of it, it's a meaningless game. Tell those guys in the orange jerseys this is a meaningless game. This is the thing that's been getting them. Arturo Freeman is a deep safety. You see him right here. He's just going back, reading. He sees Brady. He sees the pattern. He gets a good jump in the ball. Sammy Knight and Arturo Freeman, the two safeties, have been sitting back there all night, just daring Tom Brady to throw the ball there.
So 58 seconds remaining.
Now there is a happy interim coach.
Yep, who will be interviewed for the head coaching job tomorrow. And you know, you look at the Patriots. Here they are fighting with the Steelers for home field advantage in what everybody expects to be the AFC Championship game matchup. Now all of a sudden, New England still hasn't clinched a bye. And they have a game at the Jets next week. And then San Francisco at home. But they're only one game ahead of both Indianapolis and San Diego at this point. So a long way to go before the AFC picture gets totally cleared up.
Right, and they walked into one here tonight, but you know, Bill Belichick knew it. He tried to warn his team. Tom Brady said last night, this is the toughest defense I play against, and then they went out and proved it.
And blew an 11-point lead in the process, and it might as well be the Super Bowl with the bucket on Bates, the two who coached together at Cleveland. With an acknowledgement, Brady with 4 picks tonight, and the Miami Dolphins shocked the New England Patriots. Autotrader.com postgame show, horse trailer player of the game to be named. We've had to reassess this whole thing. Highlights and interview as well. So the Miami Dolphins beat the Patriots 29-28 on Monday Night Football.
This holiday, discover the magic at Radio Shack and wrap up your shopping at our last-minute sale. Double their movie enjoyment with a DVD VCR combo, only $79.99 after rebate. For poker players, our electronic Texas Hold'em game is a sure bet, only $49.99. Or help them relax with our exclusive LifeWise massaging bath pillow, only $14.99. Wrap it up right in your neighborhood.
Only at Radio Shack.
This is my mom. Another perfect holiday. I was 7 and Mom was amazing. She always knew to make Chex Party Mix. The good stuff. All seasoned and toasted fresh from the oven. You know what's great about the holidays now? It's my turn to be Mom.
Here's 5 big reasons to watch the BCS. Enter the Ford Road Ahead Challenge and you could win a trip to the championship game and 5 new Ford vehicles. Enter online or call. Then watch the Rose Bowl game presented by Citi January 1st, 4:30 on ABC and identify the Ford Road Ahead feature.
Welcome to the Autotrader.com postgame show. Here now, Al Michaels.
3 weeks in a row, a pretty wild Monday night game with a terrific ending, as we had in Seattle, as we had in Nashville, and Miami wins it 29-28. Some of the highlights here: first touchdown for Corey Dillon, putting New England on top, and then Travis Minor is able to counter here for Miami to tie the game. Corey Dillon makes his first touchdown reception of the season here. Brady had a lot of time. New England was on top, and it looked like when Daniel Graham was able to catch this touchdown pass, the Patriots would fly home with a 13th victory in 14 games. But Sammy Morris is able to knife in to culminate a Miami drive at the end. And then the big play here is Taylor begins to sack Brady, and he throws it from the seat of his pants to Ian Badejo. And then on 4th down, it was Feely hitting Darius Thompson, who was covered by Troy Brown, and then Arturo Freeman puts the exclamation mark on the win with the interception here at the end of the game. And Miami wins only its 3rd game of the year, but a night to remember for the fans at Pro Player Stadium. And Sammy Knight with 2 picks, and Jason Taylor had that great first half and that big play with Brady in the second half. They adorn the horse trailer. Jason Taylor on the field with Michelle.
Jason Taylor forced that interception thrown by Tom Brady. You had him wrapped up. What happened on the play?
I just, really, I took a chance. I didn't know they were running or passing. I just knew I was going to get up the field and got off the ball great, and they just never touched me. And thank God I missed a sack because he threw the pick, and it was huge for us.
Yeah, what are you thinking? He goes down nearly on his back, and he throws it.
Yeah, that's, I know Tommy wants that one back, but you can't have it now. We got this game, and this is big for us.
Why does this defense match up so well against Tom Brady and the Patriots offense?
Well, I don't know. We play hard. I think our matchups personnel-wise are good. We really didn't play that well tonight defensively. They ran the ball too much and moved it very well on us, but made enough plays to win the games. That's all that matters.
You told me earlier the only certainty this defense and your core group of guys has is that you have the next couple of games together. What do you guys want to do in those next couple of games?
Just win. Michelle, that's all we want to do is win games. And this one was big for us. We learned a little bit about how to win the night. You know, we've been in this position before and didn't finish games and gave them away. And tonight we finished it. And this will be big for a lot of people.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And you know what becomes a bigger game now is New England at the Jets next week, because New England is now going to have to fight for the bye.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it looked like, you know, they were going to go there and it was just New England, Pittsburgh, and if they tied, you know, Pittsburgh would have it. But now, as you say, there's a whole new scenario here, and I know that Bill Belichick is really going to be disappointed because, as I said earlier, they walked into one, and I felt last night talking to him that he kind of felt that they may be walking into one.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, as a coach, what do you do? I mean, to warn your team. I mean, how much psychology can you use here?
Well, you know, you have to do it, and you tell them, and you hope that they don't look at it as psychology. They look at it as realism.
Well, they had an 11-point lead, and that went bye-bye at the end, 29-28, as the Dolphins win it. So next week we go to St. Louis. That'll wrap up our Monday night season. The Philadelphia Eagles against the St. Louis Rams at 9 Eastern and 6 Pacific. Wild one from Miami. Hope you enjoyed it. For our entire crew, Al Michaels with John Madden and Michelle Tafoya saying good night from Miami.